See how he does it parallel unparking. Yeah. Oh, they're very good. See you later. Oh yeah, and it's also Red Wing game today.
Why do they have this on the right side, right?
Welcome to the Clinton High School class of 1998 commencement. We are honored to represent our class as the co-valedictorians. For those of you who don't know us, my name is Allison Jurassic, and I'm Colleen Baraki. Just getting here today is a great accomplishment, but now we have to set some new goals for ourselves. This poem by Veronica Shopstall best summarizes our feelings about moving on. After a while, you learn the subtle difference between holding a hand and chaining a soul. And you learn that love doesn't mean leaning, and company doesn't mean security. And you begin to learn that kisses aren't contracts, and presents aren't promises. And you begin to accept your defeat with your head up and your eyes open, with the grace of an adult, not the grief of a child. And you learn to build all your roads on today, because tomorrow's ground is too uncertain for paths. After a while, you learn that even sunshine burns if you get too much. So plant your garden and decorate your own soul instead of waiting for someone to bring you flowers. And you learn that you really can endure, that you really are strong, and you really do have worth. Just remember as you leave today, this is just a stepping stone in your lives, not a beginning or an end.
master's degree in analytical chemistry at Wayne State University and his PhD from Michigan State University. After a one-year postdoctoral fellowship at the University of Texas, Austin, Joe joined the faculty at the University of Cincinnati. Joe was later promoted to assistant professor with tenure, then full professor, head of the Department of Chemistry, and presently Joe is the Dean of the McMicken College of Arts and Sciences. He serves also as the 1998 president of the 3,000-member Society of Applied Spectroscopy and has authored or co-authored nearly 200 different publications and has presented at numerous scientific meetings. Joe was honored by Eastern Michigan University in 1990 as a Distinguished Alumni Award recipient and by the American Chemical Society with the 1992 Chemist of the Year Award. The engineers and scientists of the Cincinnati honored him in 1994, and then in 1996, the Interfraternity Council at the University of Cincinnati and Panhellenic Association named him as the outstanding faculty member. Joe's mother, Mary, graduated from Clinton High School in 1935. His brother, Tony, graduated in 1960. Tony's wife, Shirley, is also a Clinton graduate, as are both of their children, Mark and Shelley. All have been lifelong residents of Clinton. After Joe graduated from Eastern Michigan University, he married Judy Zeller, and they have 3 children, Beth, Amy, and Bill, and 1 grandson, Scott. It is with great pleasure that I present to you today Joseph A. Caruso.
Thank you very much, Mr. Frey. It's good to be home. I'd like to wish good afternoon to all of you, especially the graduates, their parents, families, friends, the teachers, administrators, and others in the audience. From that introduction, it looks like I was poised to give a pretty good chemistry talk, but I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to try to spare you that and try to keep my remarks as brief as I can. Members of the 1998 graduating class, my warmest congratulations on reaching this important transition in your life. When I read in the Clinton Local that there were 6 valedictorians and 2 salutatorians, I was astonished. A graduating class with such talent is certainly off to a fine start. Let me say that I'm especially pleased to give this address here in the town where I grew up and received most of my elementary and secondary education. Just to give you a little more background than Mr. Frey did, my earlier years were spent at the service school. Some of you will remember this as a little red brick one-room schoolhouse on Clinton-Macon Road. It still stands, but not as a schoolhouse. As you can see, my roots here run deep, as do the lifelong memories, affections, and regard for Clinton, Michigan, and its people. Of course, there are many memories, but I'll limit the stories. In my 7th and 8th grade years, a good bit of my time was spent in the hallway, although not between classes, rather during the classes. It wasn't that this was a favorite hangout of mine, yet it was a feeling of certain of the teachers that I should have spent a lot of time there. Of course, I didn't do anything, but nevertheless, there I was. Well, one day, my good friend Brad Johnston led a group of the guys through a window shade testing exercise. Now, the idea was to hang a small human weight from the shade cord, supposedly to see whether the shade or the neck gave way first. You can probably guess I was that small human weight. At that time, I think I weighed around 85 pounds. And you can also see that my neck won out as Brad and the crew kicked the chair out from under me and the shade clattered to the floor, ripped from its brackets. Of course, guess what happened right at that time? In walks Mr. Fox and says, "Joe, why are you dragging that shade around by your neck?" Well, I really wanted to tell him. But what are you going to do when the lynch mob is seated in the front row, menacing me with their sly smiles, looking up and down at their shoes and then up at me, and at their shoes and then up at me? So So of course I did the least life-threatening thing and took up my post in the hallway. And so it went with many memorable times, too many to recite now, and I know, given the heat of the day and the disposition of these graduations, that you're not here to listen to me, because the day is short and the parties are many. But let me share just a few brief words with you that stems from a belief that in life there is little security but a lot of opportunity. Security, as most of us know, gets more and more elusive as we see from many mergers, downsizing, job losses, and the kinds of things that we hear about every way. Yet, even in difficult times, opportunities are there to grasp. Did your years in the Clinton schools set the class of '98 on the path to take advantages of life's opportunities as they did for the class of '58? I'm reasonably certain they did, and the question really is will you take advantage of what they began? Let's look at some of the skills and qualities, that is, skills and qualities that help you position yourself to take opportunities, since it's impossible to specifically train anyone anymore to cope with all future eventualities. And let's not limit defining education just to classroom learning, but all of the extracurricular things that make major contributions too. Remember, at the end of the day, education is the sum total of our life's experiences. Recently, in a survey of some 600 Cincinnati employers, from very large corporations that you'd all recognize to small businesses, the Center for Economic Education reported that there are 4 skills and qualities most important for today's workplace. These are basic skills, thinking skills, personal qualities, and interpersonal qualities. Let's make sure we have a common understanding of these. Basic skills you're all familiar with. Namely, these are math and communication skills, and communication skills include reading, writing, speaking, listening, and observing, and no matter how far we get along, we can all listen and observe a bit better. If you do not have these skills already, or they're not honed to the degree you need, I would emphasize you cannot do without them. The second group, thinking skills, involve critical thinking, decision-making, formulating and problem-solving, processing information, reasoning, etc. Personal qualities are such as those that we have a lot of control over, including responsibility, perseverance, self-esteem, sociability, integrity, honesty, reliability. And finally, our interpersonal qualities allow us to function independently but with a team spirit. We share and teach skills to others, we serve customers, we exercise leadership, we negotiate, we work with diversity. And we have all these, but we can improve on them. As a payoff, when you hone these skills and qualities, you find that you become more objective and not as easily misled by your own bias and prejudice. You find that you develop a healthy skepticism to keep you from jumping to conclusions. You'll find yourself with a greater sensitivity and understanding of people. And you'll find it easier to make mature judgment of complex issues. For example, it is likely to be your generation that has to ponder the political and moral issues arising when the key is found that unlocks the secrets of aging. Who lives? Who dies? And maybe more importantly, who makes the decision? What are other specific payoffs in honing these skills? That same labor study I referred to indicated that about half the new employment from now until 2005 will be in professional, technical, or service occupations. Median wages will be the highest in professional technical areas, and in importance to the workplace, thinking skills ranked 29%, basic skills ranked 27%, personal qualities 21%, and interpersonal qualities 10%, almost 90% of the skills and qualities important to the workplace. But the top 2 are basic skills and thinking skills.
Jason Maroff. Melissa Ann Sines. Melissa Lynn Young. Elizabeth Tompkins. Michael Allen Kennedy. Julie Ann Regan. Jennifer Laurel Cook. Thomas Antol Truskowski Jr. Emily Ann Roberts. Catherine June Kepela. Megan Elizabeth Snow. Colleen Jennifer Baraki. Amanda Amelia Dutry. James Robert Welch. Jennifer Robert Hess. Allison Marie Carter. Adam Ellison Howe. Sarah Ann Meester. Jason James LaFontaine. Erin Catherine Parks. Luke James Puckett. Carrie Lynn Davis. Dennis Keith Tripp Jr. Jesse James Jeffrey. Heather Ann Miller. Raymond Gibson III. Isla Christine Snyder. Jeffrey David Fitz. Melanie Renee Mormon. Michael Allen Hess. Terry Ann Knox. James Ryan Rebick. Lindsay Ann Barr. Jeffrey James Harrison. Kelly. Ryan George Denias. Amanda Christine Slick, third generation. Samuel John Hill. Mariah Gail Strand. Jason Michael Anderson, fourth generation. Lynn Spencer. Dad Richard Schultz. Valencia Julian Delta Flora. Scott Carl Schultz. Jessica Lynn Harrison. Donald Quigley Woodward. Nicole People. Christina Deanne Bigbinder. Joshua Stephen Sean. Jessica Marie Bigbinder. Kinsey. Lori Christine Knopf. Brad Allen Cole. Kimberly Marie Dean. Blair Jacob Price. Sarah Joy Hasselbach. Anthony Louis Tabaki. Leslie Renee Arnett. Roy Arnold Petoskey. Andrea Danielle Lyon. Joshua Michael Milan. Erica Michelle Kapka. Jason David Van Zandt. Marie Kaluki.
We have been with our class through the years. He started out as our elementary school principal, then moved on as our middle school principal, and finally to a spot now as the superintendent. He's a very special, hardworking, and dedicated man, not only to our school system, but also to our activities outside of school. I work with him in the morning at 5:30, and he's always up there working on something for school. And just yesterday, we passed him on our way to our district games in Onset. He was riding his bike. He has done this in the past. Such a dedicated man deserves something. That is why the senior class is having an aerial picture of the whole school taken to put in his office. He needs to see what he is a great part of. Thanks for making our school days here at Clinton so special.
Well, this time, I promise.
opportunity.
Well, rough day, huh, Michael?
Great day.